every day you have to go back from set and go into another world of hotels and come back.
Right.
A lot of action is become a spectacle rather than a situation.
Right.
And most people are yawning through the cinemas for that. And I
जो हम बेस कर रहे हैं कि एक सीएम की सुपारी ले ली गई और एक क्रिमिनल इतना बड़ा हो गया था, तो अगर मैं ना लूं नाम तो मुझे फिर नहीं बनाना चाहिए.
Is the fact that you cannot put a finger down and say that oh he is right or he is wrong.
larger point of view, और ये बहुत intense role करता है. Because भाई, what is intense? You're just more involved in it than other people. Maybe that's what it is.
हीरो को एक कोई ऐसा ट्रेट दे दो जो उसका नेगेटिव ट्रेट है, या कोई ऐसी चीज दे दो, तो वो फार्मूला की रिटन वो आते हैं, बुक्स आते हैं कि भाई ये होना चाहिए, हीरो में ये होना चाहिए.
It was not necessarily good writing, but people are abusing on screen like we do in our real lives. It was very catchy.
Well, Inspector Avinash is back, and not a moment too soon. Because we are back with the second season of the popular show, and I have here with me the team behind it, including the director himself and Inspector Avinash खुद भी हैं. And Freddy, first of all, happy birthday आपको.
Thank you.
And thank you for your time. Thank you. Welcome to Hindustan Times.
Thank you.
I'll ask सबसे पहले to you, sir, that this is a show that is rooted in reality and very grounded. But when you go for second season, you want to make it slightly bigger, larger. What was the challenge there that you want to make it big, but you don't want to make it so heroic that it doesn't feel like Inspector Avinash? How do you balance that?
वो सी कहानी के अंदर ही वो स्केल है कि जहाँ से सेकंड सीजन शुरू होता है, तो वो कोई ज़्यादा एफर्ट लगाने की ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ी. स्टेक्स हाई हैं,
Right.
एक्शन हाई है, क्योंकि विलन्स ज़्यादा पावरफुल हो गए हैं,
Right.
तो हीरो को राइज अप करना है, तो सब कुछ बड़ा नेचुरल है. तो जो रियल आपको फील पहले सीजन में मिला था, वही फील इसमें भी मिलेगा. बस थोड़ा मज़ा ज़्यादा आएगा, थोड़े एक्शन ज़्यादा बड़े मिलेंगे. आपको इंस्पेक्टर अविनाश का कैरेक्टर पहले जैसे केयर फ्री दबंग एकदम वैसा दिखेगा. अब ये दबंग के साथ थोड़ा फंसा हुआ, और फंसने के बाद उसमें से हीरोइक तरीके से कैसे निकलेगा ये दिखेगा. और विलन्स के स्टेक बहुत हाई हैं. जो वेपन कार्टेल जिसके पीछे ये फर्स्ट सीजन में पड़ते हैं, जिसके तार होम मिनिस्टर के घर तक जुड़े हुए मिलते हैं, उसके अंदर क्या प्लॉय है, क्या प्लॉट है, और वो विलन 10 मुंह वाला अजगर जो है, उसको ये कैसे कृष्ण बनकर सर पे उनके नाचते हैं, या फिर त्रिशूल लेकर महाकाल की तरह उसे भेजते हैं. ये पूरी कहानी है.
क्या बात है.
काफी अच्छे से समराइज किया आपने.
जी.
दोनों एक्टर्स से मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है, दिस स्लाइटली फन. व्हाट इज मोर डिफिकल्ट व्हेन यू आर रिटर्निंग टू अ कैरेक्टर, पर्टिकुलरली अ कैरेक्टर रूटेड इन दिस हमारी जो हिंदी बेल्ट है, इज इट रिटर्निंग टू दैट साइकी और गेटिंग यूज्ड टू दैट एक्सेंट अगेन?
It's both, though we shot both seasons at the same time.
Okay, you did. So
But we had a long break for COVID, and I went and shot another series, and I had to come back and shoot this because it was a 150-day plus shoot, and the story was so large that it became 2 seasons. But the most difficult part is, of course, you do get used to speaking a certain way and being a certain way, and once you go away from it for a long time, it's always hard to kind of regain it. But there is a muscle memory, there is a memory of doing it, and might take a day or two, but you do find yourself in that pot boiler again.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a part of life. I mean, every day you have to go back from set and go into another world of hotels and come back.
right.
So one gets used to that, but this is enhanced a bit more. I always wish, though, that it was all done in one go, but it's mostly not the case.
Can't be. Same thing for you, getting used to that.
Yeah, I think for me as an actor, I think the initial part when we are shooting first day is the only day or second day when you are trying to get hooked on the hang of the character. After that, you start playing with it. After that, and especially when you get a break, you think of what you have done and what you could do better, and then when the character comes in, you know how you're going to speak those lines.
Right.
So it's always fun to come back
Right.
as a better character.
Of course. Director साहब ने हमारे एक्शन की बात की, and what has happened now is that our Hindi storytelling, cinema and streaming has moved away from the days of dishum dishum. It has become far more evolved, far more real, and as a result of that, the audiences are more unforgiving of something that looks fake, which has compelled actors to do a lot more themselves. This is a very physical show itself. So, do you think that raises the stakes for an actor to do more physically in terms of action, in terms of stunts, जितना कर सके without putting
Well,
yourself at
I
risk?
find action very boring unless it is driven by an emotion.
Okay.
A lot of action is become a spectacle rather than a situation.
Right.
And most people are yawning through the cinemas for that, and I have seen that or not. But as soon as you put emotion behind it, and you put, if you invest, make the audience invest in that fight, only then does it work. I was actually not in the favor of having this South Indian style glorified action in Inspector Avinash. I was hoping it would be more real rooted. But as rightly Neerraj Bhai kept it, he said that yes, this is a show based in reality, but I also want to make an enhanced reality,
Heightened reality.
yeah, like a more larger than life feel to it, because the character himself is larger than life. Now what they do over 2 days trying to track somebody and do something, he says, I want to show that very quickly, and in the scale of the larger than life reality that it was. So I'm very glad that it was like that, and it cuts great promos, and it comes and it comes across as, even in the show, it doesn't come across as completely, you're like awed, yeah, this character could do this.
Exactly.
Because you lived with that character for so long.
Yeah.
But empty action without the emotional quotient is something which I think we have overdone it also as an industry, and people are not buying into it.
जो एक इंडिया में ट्रेडिशन कम है कि हम असली नाम इस्तेमाल करें. आपने इस शो में कुछ कैरेक्टर्स के साथ किया है. ऑफ कोर्स इंस्पेक्टर अविनाश खुद एंड श्री प्रकाश शुक्ला एंड a few others. That hasn't happened in Indian cinema for legal reasons for a long time. कितने cautious थे इसको लेके? सीजन 1 का सवाल था ये, but I wanted to ask still because now a film Dhurandhar came. उन्होंने तो extensively किया.
Correct.
So does that give you more confidence that it is happening, I suppose?
See, legally कोई भी फंसना नहीं चाहता है.
बिल्कुल.
लेकिन स्टोरी की ऑथेंटिसिटी के लिए अगर मैं बिगिनिंग में नाम ना लूं जिस वजह से एसटीएफ बनी
जी,
तो पूरी कहानी ऐसा लगता है बेसिर पैर की है. जो हम बेस कर रहे हैं कि एक सीएम की सुपारी ले ली गई और एक क्रिमिनल इतना बड़ा हो गया था, तो अगर मैं ना लूं नाम तो मुझे फिर नहीं बनाना चाहिए. तो मैंने ये डिसाइड किया जो होगा देखा जाएगा. एंड थैंक्स टू जियो दैट उन्होंने इस बात पे ऑब्जेक्शन नहीं लिया. दे सपोर्टेड अस, और वो बात को समझा. उसी जियो ने धुरंधर को भी सपोर्ट किया. तो कहीं ना कहीं मैं ये समझता हूं कि एक कहानी की मर्यादा और उसकी एक जरूरत अगर मेकर्स समझ जाएं और उसको उस ढंग से करें तो वो चीज 100% ऑडियंस को कनेक्ट होती है. आप यूपी से हैं, आपने खुद कहा कि ये हेडलाइंस ऐसा तो रिलिक कर रहा था, तो ये चीज मैं वही फील कराना चाह रहा था कि आप उस यूपी में हैं, आप 90s की यूपी में हैं. ये एसटीएफ वैसी ही है, ये दौर होता था. मैंने एक भी नाम रियल ले लिया ना, तो बाकी लोग बाकी सारे नामों पे मान लेंगे कि ये वही नाम है.
बिल्कुल.
ओके, ऐसा.
ये क्वेश्चन दोनों एक्टर्स से है कि डू यू थिंक with the kind of real rooted cinema that has come, storytelling, that the lines between hero and villain are blurring? पहले हमारा एक clear divide होता था कि ये सही है, ये गलत है. Of course, Inspector Avinash हमें मालूम है that he is towards the moral side. But today, a villain, because of long format, it allows us to show his motivations, his background. Do you think that side is blurring away? For you, Freddy, if you want to start.
Well, I think that's the beauty of writing these days. And OTTs have given that freedom to a lot of writers, and hence the more developed characters. And one of the beauties of any character in Inspector Avinash is the fact that you cannot put a finger down and say that, oh, he is right or he is wrong. Because when you look at the situation on a larger scenario, every character has its own motivation of doing things. See, we all understand, there is negativity and then there is positivity, right? Whether you talk about character, you talk about life in general. So, if everything remains honest in its own way, if negativity remains honest in negativity, then it's not a negativity, it's just the nature of negativity.
Right.
So, yes, that's what the beauty of every character that is written in Inspector Avinash is. कि मतलब कोई कैरेक्टर नेगेटिव प्ले कर रहा है तो उसका तो कर्मा ही नेगेटिव होना था. सो आई थिंक दैट लाइन हैज ब्लर्ड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट राइटिंग, वेयर इफ यू आर वाचिंग मी एज अ टेररिस्ट एंड यू लाइक अरे बढ़िया है यार ये, मतलब वी वांट हिम टू स्टे अलाइव, और इफ द विलन इज डाइंग एंड यू लाइक अरे यार ये मर जाएगा तो किसको देखेंगे. That's the beauty of that character. So now negative and positive lines have blurred a lot. because the characters are being written in such depth that justifies why they are negative or
Right.
any action that they are doing. And that's the beauty of today's writing. So I think it is diluting on a larger scale.
And also that's making heroes more interesting.
Yeah, I mean, no
nuanced
child.
hai.
Sorry?
Nuanced hai thoda.
Yeah, no child is born evil or or good or anything. A child is a child which is painted by the colors of one's circumstances, one's family, one's experiences, and that's what leads people to that. Any human being is capable of doing anything given the circumstances, and a lot of us who feel righteous about things might not be the righteous person provided the circumstances flipped or something changed. So that understanding even audience has now, and audience is also seeing that they are actors. Earlier on, Amrish Puri साहब जिन्होंने भी बहुत पॉजिटिव रोल
Right,
किए
right.
थे,
प्राण साहब.
प्राण साहब, सो एक विलन का एक डेफिनेशन बन गया था और विलन हीरो से ज़्यादा पैसे लेता था और बहुत ज़्यादा वो होता था. और अभी थोड़ा सा वो बदला है. अभी जो हीरोइक रोल करते हैं वो विलनस रोल भी कर
Right.
लेते हैं, एंड इट कम्स डाउन टू हाउ दे परफॉर्म्ड एंड व्हाट इट इज एंड ऑल दैट, instead of being caught in an image. Though typecasting is still looming over all of us who are experiment friendly, but that's you got to keep going.
You have constantly fought to avoid that, the typecasting, but that comes back,
It has been a conscious effort, though from a more larger point of view. और ये बहुत intense role करता है. Because bhai, what is intense? You're just more involved in it than other people. Maybe that's what it is. But yeah, I'm in a good space where I'm now looking to see. अच्छा अब क्या क्या नहीं किया है उसकी लिस्ट बनाओ और उसकी तरफ चलते हैं. So that is obviously an urge that every artist has.
I'll end it with a question to you, and that's that when streaming began, OTT हमारा long form content आया, so it was known for the realness that it brought, कि हमारी कहानियाँ लंबी चल सकती थी, and a lot of audiences were happy that it gave that respite from formula जो फिल्मों में चलता था. Now I feel that realism is also becoming a formula, because
Absolutely.
दिखता है कि ये चलेगा तो we will make more stories like this. How do we combat this?
बिल्कुल सही बोला आपने. अभी ऑन OTT स्पेस में यू फील दैट सब कुछ सेम तरह का चल रहा है, सेम फॉर्मेट हो गया, सेम फार्मूला हो गया है. हीरो को एक कोई ऐसा ट्रेट दे दो जो उसका नेगेटिव ट्रेट है, या कोई ऐसी चीज़ दे दो, तो वो फार्मूला के रिटन वो आते हैं, बुक्स आते हैं कि भाई ये होना चाहिए, हीरो में ये होना चाहिए. मुझे लगता है कि ये सारी चीज़ें अच्छी है, एवरीथिंग शुड बी डिस्कस्ड, बट अल्टीमेटली एवरी फार्मूला बनता ही है कि बाद में उसको ब्रेक किया जाए. वो कंफर्ट हो जाता है कि इससे सक्सेस मिली है तो अब इसको ऐसा ही किया जाए. वो फिक्स नहीं है, सक्सेस कहीं से भी आ सकती है, किसी भी चीज. हाँ, इसलिए बोरिंग हो जाता है. तो मुझे इतना जरूर पता है कि सब कुछ बोरिंग हो सकता है, एंटरटेनमेंट बोरिंग नहीं हो सकता. अगर आप अपने किरदारों में एंटरटेनमेंट रखो और अपनी कहानियों को क्रिस्प रखो और पेसी रखो विथ द डिटेलिंग ऑफ देयर पर्सनल लाइफ अगर रखो, लेकिन मेजर प्राइमरीली इट शुड बी एंटरटेनिंग. एंटरटेनिंग कैन बी एनीथिंग, नॉट ओनली ह्यूमर, इट कैन बी एनीथिंग. एक्शन हो तो वो भी एंटरटेनिंग हो. तो उस तरह से अगर हम चलेंगे तो फॉर्मूला रहते हुए भी नहीं रहेगा, एंड यू कैन टेल गुड स्टोरीज.
There was a time when OTT, when it came into prominence, that shock value.
Right.
It was not necessarily good writing, but people are abusing on screen like we do in our real lives. It was very catchy. Or somebody's having an illicit relationship, which is being shown quite explicitly. So that shock value and all, it was there. And then people got used to that as well.
Yeah.
And then then there are beats, and as he was saying that there are beats and stuff, and now we know अच्छा इसका भी कुछ होने वाला है ये उधर. So I guess anything you do formulaic that will get boring, and that's why I find Inspector Avinash very refreshing in that sense that there is high real larger than life action, yet we break the fourth wall and take the audience into confidence. yet there are characters which are so rooted in reality, yet there is glamorous girls everywhere, yet there is a very glamorous home minister. You know, so there are things always happening. You feel like, okay, now it's taking a dip, and then dun, put your sleeves up. Inspector Avinash wears his goggles and he's up to something else. So that class and mass combination of Neeraj's writing and direction and how he's envisaged the show is what I find is very refreshing in Inspector Avinash, which is not there in other shows which are taking themselves too seriously.
Right. And I hope that is what the audience likes as well when the show comes out on JioHotstar.
Hope so.
Thank you for your time and all the best for season 2.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.